Davis did not become teammates with LeBron before the trade deadline, but he will be making an appearance on his TV show. AD will be on the March 1st episode of LeBron's HBO show, The Shop. It was filmed during All-Star Weekend, and the episode will also feature Antonio Brown, Meek Mill, 2 Chainz, Jamie Foxx. So, busy group there. Michael Rapport is still with us. So, Michael, do you read anything into this episode with Anthony Davis? Does it have anything to do with his future?
I am offended that Anthony Davis is on this episode of The Shop. I like the show. Gets great guests. Why don't you invite your young star and give some shine to one of your teammates, namely Kyle Kuzma?
Ooh, good point.
And if you want to do something interesting, why don't you sit down, Kyle Kuzma and Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and explain what just happened? These are young guys. They look up to you. They probably played you on video games. Sit there, but let your guy who's riding shotgun with you, Kyle Kuzma, let the world meet him. Okay, that's my big problem. I know these guys are friends. This isn't UFC. This isn't boxing. It's basketball. We can compete. We can be physical and keep going. But I also like the illusion that when the Lakers are playing the Pelicans, despite the fact that you tried to trade the whole team for Anthony Davis, you're going to knock him on his butt. The league is on top of this collusion. A rule is going to come into play, and I just think it's a bad look. Obviously this was scheduled. He thought maybe I'm going to have my teammate Anthony Davis, and so that's I don't like. And also, I like this show. Great guest. I like to hear a little bit more from the guest. Maverick Carter's word count is far more. Who is Maverick Carter? You got Antonio Brown, Anthony Davis, Jamie Foxx, fantastic guests. And the person who talks the most is Maverick Carter. And I've never been in a barbershop where everybody sees eye to eye on every single topic.
That's true.
They bring it up and everybody's like, yes, yes, yes. This is a barbershop. You're supposed to be on top of each other, disagreeing. So again, I like the show. The guests are great. But the Anthony Davis factor, it's just, I think it's disrespectful, and I think he should have let his co-star, his real co-star, be the co-star on The Shop, Kyle Kuzma.
And you know what? I appreciate what you said. As a guy who co-owns a barbershop in Detroit, Sporty Cuts for 16 years, I totally agree that never do you have where everybody's agreeing on the topics. And the other part that comes out of it is how bougie the shop is, or wine drinking. Like, never in my 16 years have we had wine in our barbershop.
And this is supposed to be like a barbershop in the hood. They're drinking wine.
They're drinking wine out of these fancy glasses. And
they're all getting along and laughing, and there's no one's arguing, no one's disagreeing. Nah, it don't go like that.
And I don't want my barbers to have wine before they get to my hair, because I don't want any mistakes. But
it looks like your barber might have had a little wine.
Oh, whatever.
I'm just playing. You set yourself up there, but I'm here all week, folks.
But the optics are bad. It just, you're still playing. You didn't get to go. Maybe you should sit this one out. LeBron, thanks for the invite. I'll be on the show right after the deal is made, or right after, I wind up joining you as a free agent. That might be the best time to do it. It does seem weird. If I'm a teammate, I'm like, what? He's giving AD love? I mean, right?
I agree.
It's a weird thing when you look at it. But and the one thing that I think Anthony Davis, and I'm not so sure. I don't know Anthony Davis. Seems like a nice kid. But be careful, because when you play with LeBron, Skip, and you know this, people call him, and I use quotes, the GOAT. If they win, it's all about LeBron James. If you come to LA and you don't win, you're going to be the scapegoat. You're going to be the reason why they didn't win. So you got to be very careful when you team up with LeBron. You get no credit for winning and all the blame when you don't win.
Okay. Before I launch on what I'm going to say about this, 2 quick points of order. LeBron has a wine cellar in his new Brentwood estate, so that's why, hence the wine in the shop, right?
Yeah, I get it. Okay. I understand it.
And but just to be fair about this, Maverick Carter has become a powerhouse, not only in Hollywood, but on Wall Street. But I understand he does often take over the show. He's sort of the spokesman. He's almost like the moderator and the opinionist on the show. But I get that. But I have a lot of respect
for him. And the back rubber, because he agrees with every single thing that LeBron says.
So here's what I think is about to happen. I believe that LeBron and Maverick and Rich Paul, especially Rich Paul, are about to use the shop as their PR vehicle to attempt to defuse the controversy that surrounded Anthony Davis and the Lakers instead of escalating it. Because at first glance, you might think, ooh, are they going to escalate, reopen the Pandora's box of what's going on? Nope, that's not what's about to happen. Anthony Davis will say exactly what he's been saying lately, which was, hey, I don't know anything about the Lakers. I never said Lakers. I'm open to all comers, all bids, Celtics.
They should have had his father on the team.
Well,
I mean, on the show. They should have had his father on the show.
That would be controversial.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, but I think you're going to hear Anthony Davis say, knew nothing about this. There's no strong arm attempt on LeBron's part or Rich Paul's part, my agent, to try to force a trade to the Lakers. They will try to defuse and discount everything that just actually did happen. So I think they will utilize their platform to try to deodorize this whole situation.
Well, he tried to do that at the All-Star game where he said, I'm open to all 29 teams.
29, huh?
Right, all of a sudden, and probably, you notice, if they didn't play it the way that they did, they might have been able to make something happen. But when you go in and tell, I'm only going to the Lakers, and that's where I want to go, you talked about foolish pride or whatever, Skip, but there is a pushback. You have a fan base you have to answer to. If the fans feel like the Lakers just came and robbed us, and took AD, and we didn't do anything about it. We followed along and took all the scraps that LeBron doesn't think he can win with. That's not how you sell that.
And how do you think New Orleans Pelicans fans feel about this episode? I mean, they're already saying this guy's not going to play Drew Holiday. For some reason, his minutes are going to get pulled back.
It's called tanking.
And it's called tanking. I understand that. But I don't think I've ever seen it as blatant as this. And what about the guys that bought tickets to games? They should tank too.
Or sponsors. What about sponsors?
I want my money back. And the whole bottom tier should be empty. And listen, there's something's got to tighten up. I don't have the answers. I don't have that kind of business mind. But they got to figure something out because it's not good for the league. It's just not good for the league. It's not good for the fans. It's not fair to the fans in the Pelican fans.
It's about competition, and you can't lose sight of that. I know people like it because you have a couple teams to talk about, but ultimately, when the Warriors go to the finals, 5 years in a row, first time to do that since the Celtics of the 60s. That's how long it's been because it hasn't always been. It's a foregone conclusion. I think we all believe the Warriors are going to win a championship, don't you?
Yes.
I mean,
and sweep the Lakers in the first round.
I do too. I agree with that.
Yeah, I just don't know how you don't.
Prepare once again to hear LeBron on this edition of The Shop say, I love my teammates. There's no way I ever wanted to trade my whole team for Anthony Davis, and I love Anthony, but he's got other things he's going to do. They will try to defuse this. Antonio Brown, on the other hand, will let it fly. So that will be the primo guest. That'll be the A-list guest on this show because, again, this was taped at the All-Star Weekend. Antonio hadn't yet met with Art Rooney the second, right? So again, but his emotions were already sideways anyway. So I think he will take it out on the Steelers and he'll be highly outspoken and controversial.
Go ahead.
Side note, Skip, how long ago did I pitch that barbershop show to the other network? You remember that show?
Yeah, I do. Whatever happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just didn't go anywhere.
Okay.
Maybe they weren't getting along enough like they're getting along.
Maybe they were thinking you're not LeBron?
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. It was just on locally in Detroit for about 8 years, but I didn't have the right idea.
Yeah.
LeBron is a busy guy, guys. He's not just busy with the shop. He's going to be remaking Space Jam. We all know that by now, but is it a mistake? We'll discuss next.